Hi everybody, welcome again. Tonight we're going to have a discussion on since the presence of Yahuah left the temple, Solomon's temple, from there on, what happened. So we're going to just look at why Yahuah left the temple. And Marky, why would you say Yahuah left the temple?
Rage and heartbreak.
Yeah.
And
About what?
about 2,000 plus another 1,500 or so years, about 3,500 years of disobedience and working with these people and caring for them and delivering them from every surrounding nation. They found their pinnacle in Solomon. They finally had what they wanted, a name for themselves, a global metropolis. What was it, $52 billion structure or something? And just fell to idolatry again. They go into idolatry, they go into slavery. He'd raise up a judge and he'd deliver them. They'd all come back into the commandments and the way and everything, and then they get cocky again, and then they get disobedience and idolatry, and they get conquered again, and it's a cycle in dozens of times. And then he had every right to. He said many times, if you, I will kick you out. I will do this, I will do that. And he did.
So they interfered with the way he said to worship him. They mixed it and brought in other idols and things and did deplorable behaviours. There was a guy on the YouTube the other day. He said that the Jews control America, and in fact they control the whole world. So I thought that was interesting. Today, that is still today. So in that time, Yahuah went back to heaven. Yeah? Because of the way they worshipped him. And he dealt with them. They were all discarded and put out into other nations. A lot of them never came back, but some came back. And they rebuilt the temple. But going up to heaven after Yahuah's disappointment, leaving, the glorious way he did it, in a vision Ezekiel had, And so there he is in heaven, looking down after 3,500 years. So how would he be feeling if you put yourselves in his place? I want to hear from you guys too, the girls.
Yeah, well, he would have been disappointed, distraught. All the efforts that he made, all the ways that he came and tried to help, he would feel like sad, I'd say.
I think he would have felt sheer hatred for what they were doing. The way they were destroying what he had made. Because if you look at it in the beginning, he made everything and it was good. So you can see that from Adam and Eve, everything onwards had turned to rubbish.
So what was the destruction? What caused all the destruction and disobedience?
It was the sin of Adam and Eve in the garden, where the serpent tempted Eve, and then Eve deceived Adam and said, "Eat this as well." So it was that deception that caused everything.
The sin came into their lives, disobedience.
Well, prior to that, they were walking around naked, but they didn't know that they were naked.
They were in a state of bliss.
It was only once they'd eaten of the tree of knowledge of good and evil that they knew. Once they did that, it was pretty much, you've sinned, and that's how everybody will be. Because everybody came from them.
So how do you think he was feeling? Sitting back on his throne again?
Well, his thought back then was like in the days of Noah when he created the flood, exactly the same. Why did I create these people? Why did I do this? Look at them. They have no respect, no anything. They don't love me like I love them. So he would have been absolutely heartbroken and had sheer hatred for the way they were treating him, his word, everything.
Yeah, great. So Marky's sitting up on his throne, but he had a plan, didn't he? So what was that plan about how to deal with mankind?
Well, I think it's interesting, Troy says about why did I create them? Because the first 2,000 years, there's only a few characters that popped up to show the way. But the next 1,500 years, he'd come really close. That little Garden of Eden, like sphere where everything's blessed and flourishing and lavish, and every time that little portal would open on an altar or the tabernacle or the temple, everything around it just, was fruitious. It was just, heaven on earth, prosperous, until mankind again, with the spirit in their flesh and Satan involved, would just turn it all to garbage again because of idolatry and the worship of the self, which is right at Satan's core. So he'd come as close as he physically could, not that he was physical at that point, but he'd come as close as he could through spirit, fire, smoke, all that sort of thing. So his plan was to come in the flesh.
But he's gone back up, back up. And his plan was to come in the flesh.
As one of us.
And what was his plan?
To show us how to behave, to actually, as the only perfect being, and it had to be a man because sin came in through a man, he's going to take away sin. Legally, of course, as we know, it's got to be exercised, but legally, as far as, because they couldn't just relate to him like we can. One or two people could and got whisked away into heaven or whatever, but they couldn't. Sin had not legally been dealt with. You sin, you die. Because after he came, he took on all that death and all the consequences for sin. So after that point, we're now legally able to enter boldly and be delivered. Not through animals or other things, but through him. So he was the culmination of everything Israel failed, all the sacrificial systems, everything. He was the culmination of everything.
It was all prophesied through the prophets that he was going to come. Isn't it?
Yeah, he laid all the little seed, breadcrumbs through the...
Yeah, so when you think about Victor, him leaving the throne. The Jews came back and they wanted to continue in the same way of worship as they left. They came back and tried, but everything fell after Yahusha died. Everything fell. Right? So what do you think of what he did? They're all still worshipping him the way they wanted to. So there was no presence in the temple or anything. He never came back the same way. So they continued in this, what sort of worship would you call it? True?
Abomination. False.
False worship, yeah.
Like Trumpy would say, fake worship. It's a pretense. Right? So there they are, all doing that fake worship. And he had a plan to come as a man and do all the things Marky said.
Yeah.
So what do you think the image that we have of him on the throne, he became flesh. What do you think of that? What sort of powerful, supernatural, spiritual being would that be?
Well, it was so attractive in his being, not physically, but spiritually. He looked in people's eyes and they just melted. And he had this incredible countenance.
I mean the switch over
Of a switch
from
over.
the image on Father on the throne to the Son
Like putting
in the flesh.
Like putting a genie in a lamp. Something huge and cosmic and multi-dimensional and creator of everything. We can't even wrap our mind around that.
Well, it's great to try.
Yeah,
I'm liking what you're saying.
yeah. But have you seen those ones where they say, "This is your universe, and this is your universe in this one, and this is that universe," like that, and he can just destroy it all. All that just went down into a little human being.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's another being out there aside from this. I think he brought himself, because he can do anything, into that carcass. So therefore he could, in like a transfiguration, he could just let the power come out here and there, just show people.
Yeah.
Like, phenomenal.
It's a phenomenal thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
What he did to come to earth, to go to all that trouble to make himself a human being.
Yeah.
You know?
He still is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's incredible when you think this is Yahuah changing.
Yeah.
And they all say, religious people say, he never changed. But he did, didn't he?
He doesn't change his attributes as far as what right and wrong is. But he changed.
He did, he changed.
He became physical, whereas before it was only spirit. No one had seen him. He was. He became flesh. He became a physical man. And in doing that, he took on flesh and became a new. It was something new because he was divine. He was Alahim and human, that never had this concept before. Never had that species, type of person before.
So he grew up. 33 years isn't long, is it?
No.
The time.
No.
He did all that. And actually, he started his ministry at 30. So 3.5 years, he just blew the brains out of the world, didn't he?
Yeah.
By the things he did and said.
Yeah.
Put all the priests in order. And they were so angry at his words that they wanted to kill him. So they murdered him, killed him, put him on a stake.
Tried to get rid of him.
And he used all that, this was in his plan, to defeat evil, to defeat Satan. So what a mind to figure out all this and to prophesy through men that he was going to come and do all this. And when you look through the Old Testament, you can see the prophecies and you can see the man Yahusha. He did all that. He fulfilled it all. And that's just amazing in 3.5 years. And it took, nearly 4,000 years to set it all up and go through the whole thing. And there's the Jews still wanting to worship Yahuah, but he's left that post. He didn't want to be the God, the Alahim that they're worshipping. So he had another plan to come as a man so we could experience everything men and women did. And then he did all these amazing miracles and stopped the sea raging and the wind blowing and healed people, and he announced that he was here to heal the sick, make the blind see. All the things that were prophesied, he did them, fulfilled them. And then they killed him. The rage in them that he spoke the truth and revealed them to the people, they were all nuts. You know? And so they killed him. But of course, he said, you can't keep a good man down. And he rose up and said, what do you think of this, guys? You know?
Great party trick, wasn't it?
The best.
No one else has ever been able to do it.
No, and they've lied and lied and lied about it. You know what Jordan Peterson believes?
No.
That Jesus is God. That's what he declared.
Well, it's just like saying Yahusha is Yahuah, isn't it? It's the same. How many of them say that?
Well, when you think that he doesn't even know Alahim's real name, Yahuah, and he believes that Jesus, who is the false Messiah, is Yahuah Alahim, and he calls him God. How can you believe someone like Jordan Peterson who doesn't even know the real name of the Father and the Son? And Jesus is a made-up name. He could easily do the research. It's a made-up name and it means the horse. So they're worshipping a horse. And Jesus isn't even real.
No.
Yet he's believing that and carrying on like he's some wonderful mind in the world and powerful, and he's doing all these things and they're all supposed to be good, but he's not even telling the people the true name, which is very, very sad. And you know why he's so mental and messed up when talking and doing all this stuff, closing his eyes and trying to prove a point. Don't work. It doesn't work if you don't know the truth. So I thought, I feel so sorry for them, Muskie and Trumpy and all those people. No one ever mentions the true names. So they're stuck and they're using Christianity in a way that suits their plans. Obviously, their plans are not Yahusha's plan. You know? So Yahusha told us lots of things. And he said, this will be closed till the last days. This will be closed. No one can see it unless I give it to them. You know? And they're all carrying on and saying, when Yahusha went back to heaven, he handed everything over to the Father and he's sitting by his side. They don't understand. Why would he go through that amazing change, do all those sort of things? He changed his identity and took the flesh and made the flesh into an eternal being that would last forever. And he said, this will happen to you if you follow me. You know? And so there he is, back up in heaven, and it even says he came as a lamb. And we all know the lamb is Yahusha. Why would he change back to the Father image where he doesn't want to be worshipped that way as Yahuah the Father? He doesn't want that. So, and they've twisted many scriptures around to say this is what he did. But when you look at the scriptures, you can see it's in like a code. You know, and they've twisted it all around to make it exactly what it has said, not looking at the abstract, not looking. And we know that Yahusha is Alahim, you know, and he's revealed that. Right? And then he's revealed a pathway for us to go into. What's the pathway, guys?
The pain. So the only way to get to it is it's a spiritual gate that you have to get to. In order to get to it, it's accepting that Yahusha is Alahim. Without accepting that, you will have no way of finding the gate.
Because he said, I never knew you.
That's right.
I've got to know him.
Yeah. So by accepting him, he'll show you the gate and the path that you need to walk or run, whichever way you want to do it. But you've got to follow that path. And everything he wants you to do, you need to do. Everything he wants you to put off, overcome,
What's
destroy.
the process from entering the gate? What do you do physically? What's the next thing, the steps?
You get the baptism of spirit.
What happens to you?
He takes the old heart that you have out, puts in a new soft heart, and he also implants his spirit.
He takes your old spirit out.
Yep.
And replaces it with a seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he starts putting you through a baptism of fire. And boy, does that hurt.
So the seed's got to grow. How do you feed the seed?
You feed the seed by reading the word.
Yeah.
Because the word is the truth.
The thoughts?
You check any thought that you get with the word. If it's not in line with his word, it's from Satan or his...
And so is it just a mind thing, or is there a doing thing as well?
There's a doing thing as well, because you might be walking down the street and you might see somebody who's fallen over, for example, and you just walk past them. He doesn't want you to do something like that. It's a behaviour. You walk up to them, you help them.
Yeah.
Can I help you up? Can I call an ambulance for you? Is there someone I can contact? You actually show that you are concerned for their well-being. Putting off whatever it is that you are on your way to do, that doesn't matter. Help the person. That's what he wants us to do.
Yeah.
Help each person he puts in front of us at any time.
So how do you associate that with a doing thing and the fruits of righteousness.
Well, that's being humble. You're humbling yourself, you're putting off yourself to help somebody else.
Yeah.
Because they're more in need than what you are.
So we have to have an experience with the fruits, the 9 fruits.
Yes.
9 behaviours should be imbued into our being, and we should be doing them.
Yeah.
Once we know about them, as you said, then if you don't do them or you're not doing it properly, what happens? You talked about the fire.
Well, you get fire, you get pain, you get burning, and sometimes it could be, you might actually hurt yourself. It's a consequence for something that you did wrong.
Could be illness, could be a broken bone, or
Anything, absolutely anything. It could be, I just got a sharp pain in my head, or my tooth, or my back, or car accident. Anything could happen, and it's all Yahusha's doing because you haven't done what he wanted you to do. You walked past that person instead of helping them.
Yeah.
So you're getting the consequences for not being as he was. Because when he was here, he would help everybody.
Yeah.
Here, give me a hand and I'll help you up.
So going into this vein and taking on the fruits of righteous behaviour is going to stop the power of the spirit that's in our flesh from controlling us, making us do wrong things.
Yeah.
Doing the fruits of righteousness, coming back from the way the Jews were worshipping Yahusha, is going to do what to us if we do the fruits of righteousness? We have a change. What's it going to do to us?
It's going to make us feel happy. It's going to make us want to express that love, joy, and everything that we've got to other people. It's going to make us want to share it with others. So that way they can feel what we're feeling. Because, let's face it, most people in the world are miserable. So usually if there's somebody with just a little bit of happiness, everybody wants to squash it.
Yeah.
Cut you down. No, you shouldn't be happy, that's wrong. They think that being miserable is okay. Well, no, it's not. You should be happy.
That's right.
You should be loving. You should be kind to people. If you're not doing that, then you're doing the work of Satan instead.
Right. So going through, you want to say something?
If you're exercising the fruits of righteousness, you're going to be delivered from the spirit in your flesh.
That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Delivered from the spirit that's in our flesh by doing the fruits of righteousness, which is our
Behaviour.
Worship.
Our true worship.
It's the true worship.
Yeah.
The behaviour is how you worship Yahusha today.
Yeah.
Through our behaviour, and it can only be the fruits of righteousness.
Yeah.
Righteous behaviour.
Yeah.
That's what he wants for others to see, the change in mankind, men and women, changing their behaviour because it shows up. What did Yahusha show up?
What was in them?
Satan's works.
In their behaviour.
Yeah, and they killed him.
Yeah.
He rose from the dead, and he left the instruction before he left that he said, "Enter in at the narrow gate.
Yeah.
Follow me."
Yeah.
So where is it? Yeah, we've figured out it's spiritual. You've got to go in that. And the whole thing, the whole key is to be delivered from the spirit that's controlling us in our flesh. Flesh hates the spirit, spirit hates the flesh. This battle we have to overcome, work out our own deliverance. We have to be delivered from the things that we've made up our mind to keep inside us and not give up. He wants that given up and gone so that we can be free, delivered to do correct worship in the fruits of righteousness. See his whole plan.
He couldn't go back he couldn't go back to the Father. He couldn't go back and become the Father.
Oh, I don't think so.
Everything he did was new. New covenant. You know, he actually gave them a new image to worship. Yeah, I know he was always telling them to worship the Father and pray to the Father, but he was actually, I mean, if someone's just healed you of a 50-year, 60-year-old ailment, who are you going to be worshipping? The person that just delivered you. So he really, through his behaviour, he gave them a new image to worship, because you could only have one. Alahim could only ever be one. And they were chastised for 1,000 odd years for trying to put an image to him. That's why the Pharisees hated him as well, because he's been this image of, they weren't allowed to have an image. They had to just worship this cosmic being. And he's saying, it's me. And they wouldn't have it.
And he did all this to them in 3.5 years.
So it's new, he couldn't go back to it.
No, I agree, Mark.
He gave them, and he's the image we worship now. He actually put a face to Alahim, so we could worship him with it. We still got to believe, but you can see him. We can't actually see him, but you know what a man looks like. You know what a 33-year-old man looks like, with a beard, an Arab. You can worship him. You can worship, It's makes it more intimate.
There's lots of images you can see in this discussion about all different things if you can accept it. You know?
Well, that's the other thing. When he did come, he came for the purpose of teaching them how to worship. And yes, everybody turns around and says, well, he was praying to the Father all the time, because he was showing them how to communicate with him once he had passed. That's what he was teaching them, but they don't see that. They only say, well, he was praying to the Father, so he's still there. But can't you see that he was trying to teach them, this is how you pray, not just about the Father. It's about how you do it. How you behave is how you also worship. So they can't see that.
Oh, how many commands did he take and say, this is how it's written, but that's not what you're doing. This is how you do it. And he turned everything into a behaviour.
Look at the one about the Sabbath. And the disciples are grabbing bits of barley or wheat or whatever and eating it on the Sabbath. They're not allowed to do that. They're working. No, they're literally grabbing something to eat. They're not working. It's like work means that you're filling up baskets for, more than one person. They're literally shoving it straight in their mouth. That's not work.
While walking from town to town, we're not going to talk about that bit.
So if we centre on Yahusha now, where he is, and we saw his plan from being Yahuah to becoming Yahusha, he came to earth, what he did, all the things he did and told us, and he said this will come about in the last days. Lots of knowledge and wisdom coming to us, we can see in the abstract that he laid out this plan all the way. So in the last days, those that are on earth will see. What do you think he feels about those that refuse him and want to have their own way and religion and whatever they want, but they refuse Yahusha and his way through the vein? How do you think he feels about them?
So,
He's made it plain. He came and brought the new covenant. He's made it plain and given us his word, given us the teaching. He's made everything plain. In the last days, so much more opening up. And he said, if you want to believe, if you... So he's not really worried. He's done his job and he's opened up the door for everyone, and it's our choice. He's given us that free will, and we have the choice. We know his name, we know who he is, we've read about everything that he did. So the choice is left open.
How do you think he feels about those that refuse it?
Well, his word says, many are called, but few are chosen. So many hear the word and refuse it. So he's like, well, you're not my chosen. So it doesn't matter. It also says, many are born for destruction.
So how should our feeling be to the ones that reject him?
well, I don't think he has a feeling about it. He's too knowledgeable of the beginning and the end. I don't think he has a feeling. He doesn't have a feeling.
Yeah.
It's just an if. Why would he? I mean, I know there's times where it says he was angry.
But he says he loves everyone on earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he would have feelings because he became human.
Yeah.
So I think what you said at the beginning, he doesn't have a feeling. I suppose he'd be disappointed.
Yeah.
They didn't choose for themselves, and you said chosen. And what does it say about in the scripture about you're chosen before?
Before you're even born, he knew us before we were born. He knew who it was that was going to be the ones to be with him.
What do you think, out of 8 billion people on the earth, it's a lot of people, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you and Mark would find each other. What do you think about just that fact?
Good way to look at it, isn't it?
Well, considering that we've both been through hideous divorces or separations and stuff like that, it was strange because I wasn't prepared to go out and look for anybody at first until my 2 children actually said to me, "We want you to meet somebody else, Mum. We want you to be happy."
Wow.
That to me was like, oh, okay. And it was only after that we started talking, found each other through a dating app, and we started talking, and I'd been on there for, I don't know, a couple of months, I would say, and constantly getting all these...
Inappropriate.
Creepy.
Well, I said in my thing, I didn't want anyone who was more than 4 years older than me. That was it. I put my foot down. And being with somebody 10 years older, I had enough, don't want that. 4 years maximum is as far as I was willing to go. And I was getting 60-year-olds, and I'm 40, messaging me, my first question to them is, how old are you? No, don't want to know. And I'd actually block them. So, as Mark would say, about to get off, and he shoots me a message and something just said, respond.
Did I start it? Or did you start it?
You started.
I started?
You started the conversation.
Yeah.
So, I responded, and pretty much here we are today.
But you didn't answer the question.
Miraculous.
That's more like it.
You're from Melbourne, he's from Sydney, and you met in Cairns.
That's it.
8 billion people
Out of all that.
in the earth, and you two have come together and you've come to Yahusha. He was already in Yahusha. He led you in. So what do you think that's happened as far as you look at the chosen? Before the beginning of the world, and you look at your lives and what you've both been through, and yet he has brought you together.
Yeah.
It's all right.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a case of, well, you know, he knew what we both needed. He knew that we were the ones that he wanted. But
The way you both were, what you were going through.
But he also knew that
Go through hell to get there.
without going through all this, there was no way that we would be the way we are today. We had to go through, you know, that swill, that terrible relationship, that pain, that anguish, that all of those things that we went through. We had to go through it so that we knew what it was that he went through. And without knowing what he went through, how can you love him?
Or respond, yeah.
You know? So you can't.
Mm.
You need to have some sort of
Well, when you know there's a way out for you, you've got out the back door, you're being delivered,
Absolutely.
you know? And you can see how miraculous, as you said, the whole thing is just so amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
When you think of the two of you, where you were,
Yeah.
what's happened. What did you say? That's a good way to look at it. What did that mean to you by saying that?
What did I say?
About out of 8 billion people, how he brought you two together.
Yeah.
You said that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. Because
What is it, Mark?
What are the chances?
What is it?
Right? It's supernatural.
What's happened?
1 in 8 billion.
Divine appointment.
Out of 8 billion people,
Yeah.
you both found each other in Yahusha.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the amount of,
So you can see how you're chosen.
yeah, can see that.
And then I will finish the job that I started within you. But we have to work out our own deliverance through the fruit behaviour. And then, as we start behaving the fruits, what do we see that he said? Is it coming true?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So he planned this before the beginning of the world.
Yeah.
And everyone's followed through and done their stuff. Every nation that's risen themselves up, you see that they've been destroyed, or they've all disappeared and left their monuments, and their religion and their worship is gone. Who's doing that? What's going on?
Yahusha's doing that.
Yeah.
Yahusha's allowing it all to happen.
And you can see the rebellion of men
Yeah.
not to accept him. But he came. Why did he come to the Jews? Why did he choose them?
Give them an opportunity. He
And
could,
they blew it.
he could have chosen someone out of any race, but he chose Abraham out of Babylon called him a Hebrew, first Jews, he gave them a chance. Went a long time helping them, and I mean, where are we? 2025. That's nothing to Yahusha. Like, first 2,000 years of the scriptures are in the first 6 chapters. So, like, we think, oh, it's so slow, but this is about the same time between creation and the flood that we're living now. Like, and the hell happened in that time? So, he's working. Yeah. What was your question?
I forget.
I forget too.
I just got caught up.
That was great.
How
Why
amazing
did he
is it?
choose the
Yeah.
Jews?
Why did he choose the Jews? That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, to give them a chance.
And look what they've done
Yeah.
and are still doing
Yeah.
against Yahuah.
Mm.
But aren't we blessed to know that Yahuah is not there?
Yeah.
He left that throne.
Yeah. They're not even obedient by Yahuwah's standards.
No.
Who they're lifting up.
They don't care about that.
Let alone Yahusha's.
They were the ones that he first chose, so therefore they're automatically right, is how they see it.
Yeah.
You can't be right if your behaviour is not the fruits of righteousness.
We see what he's done to all the nations that have risen up against him. Babylon, all of them. And Aztecs, all over the world. Rome. And they've all been, except the ones he wants to keep in for the last final go. So the Jews are still there, doing what they're doing.
Yep. Doing what they've
What are you
always
laughing
done.
about?
Yapping at the heaven. Yapping.
Yeah.
Fake worship.
Yeah.
Remember that you sent it all up with the song?
Yeah. All laughing. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jews
Wobbly,
worshipping.
wobbly.
Yeah, it was funny. So
to take it serious.
that's all going on. That's in the world, and then there's this door that's open through the narrow gate, the vein, that we can enter in to be delivered as Yahusha promised us. You can be completely delivered from the sin that's in our flesh, the spirit that's in our flesh. That can be out of us, and that wants to destroy us. And there aren't a lot of takers that want to be delivered.
No.
The deliverance that he promised, and he's made us do part of it. Change our behaviour. Then we get the fullness of him coming in. And we've only got a couple of years to go before he returns. And we have to prepare ourselves so we're ready for him. Our jar of oil has to be filled. And it only gets filled through rewards from our behaviour. You do something he tells you, say something, and you get a reward. The jar gets filled. And all those that are wise are going to do this. Are going to know this, and are going to do it. Because they want to be preserved forever. They want to be with him forever. Who wouldn't want that? To be with a being that is eternal, has done all this, and reached out to us. How the hell would we know? How the hell would you two know that he's brought you together until you're, in this, till you're doing it? It's just all so amazing and supernatural. Yet all this is going on around us. All this madness and building, and they think they've got forever and ever, and they've got all these plans. Everyone's got plans for them, and that's what's got to die. Who wants to give up their life plans? And yet when they get to 60, they realise, I'm 60.
What was it for?
The time's gone, I haven't got my youth anymore. You've been promised eternal life, to live forever and be made about 30. 30 years old, the flesh is revived. I mean, they're all trying to have that done to them through men, through chemicals, through, plastic surgery. And it's all about them. They want to live forever. Because inside, when you're old, you don't feel any different to what you were. But a lot of people, when you get to our age, 77, they can't pull out. They've got to keep going and fulfill their desires. They're still not satisfied. That's what Yahusha gives you. Health and satisfaction and joy, sanity. Yeah. And peace and love. And out of the behaviour, what's the greatest one of all?
Love.
What do you think of that? The most powerful and greatest of all the fruits, all the miraculous joys you can have from, the greatest is
Love.
What does that say to you?
You've got to be delivered to feel that love. You've got to be delivered to have that love.
Well, I think he gives us oases on the way, don't you?
Yeah. And no matter what people say about the behaviour evolution or the vein, there's a big ruse going around a lie that you're delivered when you come out of the water and do 10 commandments and that. But people know if they're honest, they're not delivered. You know it when you put your head on the pillow at night. I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel happy today. I'm delivered, but I'm not happy. Well, that's the opposite of Scripture. So people have to be honest with themselves and say, "There's more to this." The water thing is irrelevant. I don't feel His Spirit, because if I felt His Spirit, I know the Scripture says His Spirit in my presence is fullness of joy. I didn't feel happy today. I'm not joyous.
Well, John told us that, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's not what we need to go for. We need to go for what Yahusha has offered us.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The more people are willing to be honest and say, I want Yahusha's
What does he say about that?
Few will be chosen.
Few will make it. Make what? Enter in at the narrow gate. So there's a way out to be delivered from that's killing us, that's making us insane. That can all leave your body. And when you look at Yahusha, just his sweetness. He's never been wrong. He's never sinned, because he gave the way of deliverance and freedom. How sweet he is. How loving. And we can have all that flowing through our veins, regenerating us from all our insanities and desires. He can give us peace, because the flesh is insatiable. It won't stop. You can't make the flesh stop wanting to get, to be, to do. And yet we can be delivered through that, get out the back door. That's available. That's what Yahusha made available. And you look at, great minds in the world like Jordan Peterson and all those atheists and other people, they're all arguing. But they believe that Jesus is God. Jesus is the false Messiah. They're all stuck in this Christian thing, and they can't see the birds from the trees. They're blinded. Blinded by what? The truth looks so easy and plain when you see it. And they're just standing in the doorway. I mean, how powerful is the Spirit the false prophet. The false prophet, that's Jesus.
Yeah.
How powerful is that spirit to send people off their heads? Insanity, Christianity. It's insanity.
Yeah.
There's no joy and love and peace and sweetness.
No.
It's a pretense and a knowledge.
Yes.
It's not wisdom. It's not real love. And they're all missing out. That's why I say, why worry about them, Mark? Why don't you go for yours first? Get right. Make yourself feel, oh, this is it. I'm staying here. You know all the boundaries, what not to cross? Stay in there. So I just want to end. The greatest power is His love. And I just want us to think how sweet. You know, and you say, oh, she was a sweet lady. But He's sweet. Real sweet.
That's wonderful.
Just wonderful, isn't it? Think of Him like that. You know, He'll never hurt us. But it's the fire's fault, not Yahusha's. Yeah, but He loves us.
No, it's our fault. That's why we get the fire. It's not His fault. It's not His fault. None of it's His fault. It's our choice to do the wrong thing. Therefore, we get the fire. And He's just showing us that way so that the fire cleanses and purifies us and makes us realise that, hey, I shouldn't do that. That was stupid. So it's just constantly to train us to be better, to be more like Him.
Do you want to say goodbye to the brothers and sisters and close up?
Thanks everybody for watching. Hope you have a great night. Bye.
Bye.